Jaya Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhans Parivrajkacharya Shri Shri Stoktal Sashri His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Arvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramhans Parivrajkacharya Shri Shri Stoktal Sashri His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की प्रेम से कहिए श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की गंगा माई की यमुना माई की भक्ति देवी की तुलसी महारानी की समवेत भक्त वृंद की हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की श्री नवदीप मायापुर धाम की श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की श्री वृंदावन धाम की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Hare Krishna devotees, we welcome Vicitra Krishna Prabhu. He has come from the teaching here. He has come from, what is it, Mayur Vihar?
ISKCON East Delhi.
ISKCON?
East Delhi. East Delhi.
ISKCON East Delhi. And he is a preacher. For many years he's been maintaining a congregation with regular programs. And he's also one of our teachers. He's also one of our students. And so we regret that today Sat Prema Prabhu, he was coming from Govardhan, he got caught in the rain, so he could not reach here. Sat Prema Prabhu जो हिंदी क्लास देने वाले थे, वो गोवर्धन से आ रहे थे, रास्ते में बारिश बहुत जोर से आ गई, तो नहीं आ पाए. So those who are Hindi speaking, यदि आप अंग्रेजी समझते हैं तो इधर आगे बैठिए. यदि अंग्रेजी नहीं समझते हैं तो अनुवाद होगी. किनके द्वारा? परेश प्रभु, परेश प्रभु एंड दिस साइड पूजा माता जी. ठीक है, सो साथ में करना है ना, हम इंतजार नहीं करेंगे, साथ में साथ साथ करना है अनुवाद. ठीक है.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, Text 11. तद्वाग् विसर्गो जनताग् विप्लवो यस्मिन् प्रतिश्लोकम् अभद्वति अपि. नमानि अनन्तस्य यशो अंकितानि शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति साधवः. reading translation directly. On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sehgana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sehjivam Savdaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sehgan Lalita Shri Vishakha Nivatamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radhakant Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhishcha Kripa Sindhubhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. So I would like to thank, first of all, Her Grace Prashanta Mataji, being grateful to her, giving me this opportunity to serve all of you and myself by repeating the words of Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, for our purification. Once His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj had asked Srila Prabhupada that what is the definition of being a disciple or sincere disciple. Srila Prabhupada answered him by saying that one who serves spiritual master all instructions, whether big or small, is the sign of sincerity in one's practice. To serving spiritual masters all instructions. When we think about this statement, it's a very tall order. It's a very elevated instructions given by Srila Prabhupada that serving spiritual masters all instructions. To rise up to this level, one has to be always effort-centered. Most of sadhakas, we live the life of very comfortable sadhana bhakti, which is called a relaxed zone. Fulfilling the bare minimum standards to be qualified as a devotee. But Srila Prabhupada statements and such instructions are actually encouraging us to rise up to a effort-centric life. Once in Sri Dham Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada's one disciple, his name was Vishal Prabhu. So he used to stand outside the Prabhupada's quarter every day morning when Srila Prabhupada was about to leave for his everyday morning walk. So his ritual was he used to open the gate for Srila Prabhupada, and like in defense forces, like a subordinate salutes to his superior. So that was kind of a ritual he used to do every day to Srila Prabhupada, opening the gate. And along with the opening gate, he used to recite the full pranam mantra to Srila Prabhupada by saying Jayam Vishnupad, Paramhans Parivrajkacharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So every day, he used to do that. So 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day. And one day Srila Prabhupada stopped there and said, Vishal, why don't you do something useful? Which means it is very easy to actually say Jai to our spiritual masters. But doing something useful for their mission, serving their mission, is what they expect from us. When we become the contributors in the mission of Srila Prabhupada, when we rise up to the level of efforts and we make efforts center of our life, we dedicate our life in making the efforts to please the disciplic succession, the Guru Parampara. So this is why Srila Rupa Goswami very elaborately mentions in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu how bhakti is different from mukti. So many statements from different shastras after another, he mentions that. How mukti is so insignificant and small in compared to bhakti. But most of the time, in this age of Kali Yuga, our aspiration to take shelter of the Krishna is actually mukti. We seeking we want to get rid of samsara davanal. We want to run away from the heat of material life, threefold miseries. So most of the time our objective to take shelter of the Supreme Lord is to run away from the miseries, Kalesha Agni. And we become Mukti Kamis, then the Bhaktas. So to call ourselves a devotee or Bhakta, one need to understand the purpose behind all that what has been given in the devotional life. Unless one is convinced or understands the purpose, one would not like to change our conditionings. One would not like to rise above or not even making an effort. See, it is not about something achieving. It is not about the results. But what matters is, are we actually from core of our hearts aspiring to rise above our deep rooted conditionings? So if there is an aspiration, at least the aspiration that I want to rise above from my conditionings, that means we have understood to the some degree the purpose of pure devotional life. Following the pure devotion, Shuddha Bhakti, is another dimension. But at least having an aspiration to live up to that standard and developing such desire is a very satisfied in when we walk on path of bhakti. So the bhakti means it's a life of goodness, and the material life we were of ignorance and passion, and the ignorance and passion gives us the heat. Insurmountable heat is there, and we run from it. Chaturvidha bhajante mam. So four type of people come in shelter of Krishna: Artha, Artharthi, Jigyasu, Jnani, cha Bharat, Rishabha. So the Artha, so the Acharya says in this age of Kali Yuga, the most people who take the shelter of the Lord are Artha, who have come because of either mental, physical, or social, or some other kind of problems in their life. So when we get the relaxation, no, when we get the soothing effect of devotional service, Koti Chandra Sushitala, so Nitai Pad Kamal is like millions of the moons. That cool effect is given by the lotus feet of Lord Nityanand Prabhu. So when we get that effect in bhakti, as Rupa Goswami says, among five pure devotional symptoms, one and the first and foremost is Kalesha Agni. So as the Kalesha Agni goes away, we think that we have attained the purpose of the life. This is what I wanted and I have attained it and I'm sufficient here. So there is an complacency enters in our heart. And when that complacency enters in our heart, we don't want to grow above that. As Srila Prabhupada explains, bhakti is very dynamic. If you want to stay where you are, you can't unless you strive to progress. Unless you strive to progress or grow, you won't be able to stay where currently we are. Which means the material energy, Maya, is Durataya. It is Mama Maya, Krishna claims. It is equally powerful like Krishna, Krishna's energy, and we are very insignificant part and parcel of Supreme Lord. And it is impossible for us to face or stand in front of material energy. So we are being dragged mercilessly by material energy. Every then and now, there are attractions within our hearts, outside our hearts, wherever we are. This is material energy's insurmountable attraction. Avaranatmika, Prakshepatmika is always binding us. So in case we are not striving to progress on path of devotional service, we won't be able to stay where we are. That's why we become happy when people join Krishna consciousness. But the amount of people join Krishna consciousness or come walk in Krishna consciousness is a very huge, massive number. But everyone is not able to retain themselves on this path. So the real result will be when people remain on this path, not just walk on this path. So when you count how many walked in, there are many actually, countless. But if you count how many remained after several years, very few ones who remained dedicated to the disciplic succession, who kept on serving according to their spiritual master desire. Which means the material energy is, we are surrounded by it. We are in Maya's domain. We are surrounded by material energy. So every moment, material energy is working upon us. So if we don't remain sincere to the purpose of the human form of the life, if we don't remain sincere to our spiritual masters, if we don't remain sincere to the disciplic succession, there'll be always every reason for us to not remain dedicated on this path of devotional service. And we would notice this, or we would have, when we understand the purpose of life, we are ready to dedicate, sacrifice, change to any extent in our lives. To the extent we understand the purpose, to that extent we are ready to surrender. The more we are convinced, the more we surrender. So our surrender is according to the degree of our conviction in heart towards the process. So this is why mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim. No? A dumb man can speak, or lame man can climb the mountains. Anything can be done for the pleasure of disciplic succession if we are convinced with the purpose of the human form, or the purpose this entire creation is created for, whose pleasure. Every particle of this entire creation has been created for only one purpose, and that is to bring smile on face of Supreme Lord Krishna. If our existence is not fulfilling that purpose, which means we are not aligned with the purpose of the Creator. And if we are not aligned with the purpose of the Creator, we have not understood the purpose of the Supreme Creator, which means we won't be able to stay on this path. Like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj used to narrate one story to make us understand why several people remain on with the several reasons on this path. He quoted once a story by saying there was a landlord, and he was a very wealthy, and he had a couple of servants, and one of his cook, very dear to him, used to prepare very special preparations for him to honor every day. So for this landlord, the best quality of the rice by the name of Balam rice was being cooked. And this is a delicacy in Bengal, that people eat the best rice with the pure cow ghee, molten gold cow ghee, mixed with it, and they honor it. So he used to eat every day Balam rice, the best quality rice with the pure ghee. So one day, his cook came to him and he said, "My dear master, I've served you so many years, but now I want to leave this service." So landlord inquired why he wants to leave this job. He came to know that he's getting more money somewhere else. Somebody else has offered him better salary. So he wants to leave his job. So what was the principle in landlord's home was, all his servants used to eat very low quality rice, and the high quality rice was being cooked for the landlord only. So he told that day, for the cook also, every day the balam rice should be cooked. So cook will also honor the same quality of the rice which landlord was honoring every day. So he started eating that balam rice for 15 days continuously with ghee, with cow ghee. So 16th day he came himself and said, I don't want to leave this service. Since I've served you so much, I have attraction for yourself. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj used to narrate this story. He said, sometimes our purpose being in Krishna consciousness is balam rice. That why we are on this path, actually we are getting balam rice. Which means bhakti is bringing some facilities to us which we may not get outside, and outside life is a big struggle for us. Earning livelihood, being with materialistic people is a big struggle actually, big time struggle. Those who come from such backgrounds or those who are there, ask them and check actually what kind of struggles people are undergoing nowadays actually, just to raise a family, just to maintain a family, just to maintain this body is a so stressful. There is a cutthroat competition wherever you are. There is always better people available, whoever you are. So sometimes for being in Krishna Bhakti, Krishna consciousness is actually the motives are ulteriors. The benefit, the side benefits which Bhakti path brings to us, but not the purpose this should be offering to us. That is pure heartedly serving the Supreme Lord, surrendering our whole life. So, which means actually there is a lack of understanding in ourselves for the purpose of the human form, for the purpose of the creation, and the purpose of the process of Krishna consciousness which has been offered to us. The problem is it has been given to us so easily, we never wanted it actually. Hardly anyone comes on Bhakti path looking for Krishna. There may be very rare souls. When we read the history of the disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like Rup Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, they came searching for Krishna. But majority of the neophytes or the nowadays, we see they don't come searching for Krishna. But the representatives of Krishna go and search them, where they are hiding themselves in which pockets, and bring them out. Like Srila Prabhupada, Senapati Bhakta, went out as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lochandas Thakur gives this prediction. When the sinful people will run away from my shelter and they'll go to the far countries, my Senapati Bhakta will go them and bring them back in my shelter. And this is what Srila Prabhupada contributed. So, since we have not worked hard to get this bhakti, this devotional path, we don't value it actually, what we have received it. Ask them those by great difficulty they received this path, how much value they make it. Because they have understood the purpose. Like in Indian history, there is one story to make us understand this principle. When Shivaji Maharaj, the great Maratha ruler, was ruling the Western India, he was contemporary of the Mughals, and the Mughals were very notorious. They wanted to rule the entire India. To what not extent they wanted to go. To the great surprise, all these Mughal rulers had their ministers all Hindus. Because they knew these Hindus will never cheat them. They'll be very loyal to them. They all used to keep all the ministers only Hindus, not Muslims. Because they knew the Muslims can betray them and kill them and become king. So the Mughal rulers, and for them, they were very fearful of Shivaji Maharaj. He was the one actually who was giving them sleepless nights, especially Aurangzeb, when he was ruling Agra. So Shivaji Maharaj's strategy was he used to have the forts, and with the handful of the people, he used to give very tough fights and he was very expert in guerrilla warfare. Even till now, the defense forces across the world learn the strategies of the guerrilla warfare from Shivaji Maharaj actually. He was so brilliant person. So in one fort, and he used to have very strict principles, very principle-centric life, because he was raised like that by his mother Jijaji Bai, and he had given such samskaras right from the childhood. So Shivaji Maharaj had made the law that the moment sun sets, the doors of the fort will be closed, and nobody can go out and nobody can come in. Even one day, Shivaji Maharaj himself came in the night, after one battle, the doorkeepers did not open the door, and he rewarded such doorkeepers. No, he rewarded them, not allowing him also and following the principle to such an extent. They were so dutiful. This is how he used to train them. So one day, one lady who was a milk seller, she came from a nearby village, and every day she used to bring the milk and sell in Shivaji Maharaj fort to the people who used to stay there. And every day she used to go back to the village before the sunset, and sunrise she used to came full of the all the pots of the milk she used to bring and empty it and go back home. So one day she was so much absorbed, she lost, actually she forget completely, the sun is about to set now. And the sun set. And when she remembered, oh, I have to go back, she had an infant to take care. There was an infant baby she had, and she was a single mother who was raising this child. So when she was about to leave, she came on a door was closed, and she asked the doorkeepers, please open this door. I have a small baby, I have to feed him. And in case I don't reach home, he will die waiting for me, and he is helpless, completely dependent on me. And there is nobody else behind me to take care of him. Kindly open this door. Please, I will always remember this. I come every day, I follow your rules. But today I somehow mysteriously forget. But please don't punish me like this. Otherwise, my child will die and you will have the sin of his death. So please allow. But the doorkeepers were so strict. They said, no, this cannot be opened. She kept pleading, kept requesting, but they did not hear anything. Now she started searching, is there any other way I can climb down? Because this fort was on a hill. And this hill was entire forest land. And that too in a night. There were wild animals. So she started searching where she can climb down. And searching the entire fort boundary, she reached on one spot where there was no wall. Why there was no wall? Because this was actually the peak of the hill. The wall was not required to be made there because nobody could have ever climbed that site. So Shivaji Maharaj said, leave this as it is, no need to invest here labor and money because nobody can climb this. And that was full of thorns, wild things there, wild grass and the trees and what not, pebbles and the rocks. Nobody could think of coming from there. So this lady, her name was Hirkani, she's standing there and watching it. And she started keeping 1 foot down to climb down. With very carefully keeping 1 foot because one little carelessness will take her life. That steep she had to climb down. Keeping 1 foot after another feet. So carefully, just thinking about my child crying at home. Sun has set, it's dark, there is no light in home, nobody can lit the lamp also. Nobody will enter in my hut. My cows waiting for grass, they must be mooing, and my child crying, desperately waiting for me. In case I don't reach few more hours, he will die. There is nobody to. Just absorbed with the thought of the face of the child and his welfare, nothing else. She climbing down that hill which was impossible for even great soldiers, warriors to come down. What to talk about a household simple lady? And she keeping one feet after another feet, and mysteriously when she kept the feet it was on ground, and she started running to her home. And next day morning she came back again in fort with the milk to sell. And the guards noticed, how come she came out? How has she come out? She was inside and we didn't allow her to go back, but she's coming from outside. And they arrested her and took her in front of Shivaji Maharaj. Shivaji Maharaj, she has broke our rule. We allowed not to go, but somehow she escaped. And Shivaji Maharaj was so furious. He took out his sword and asked, "Oh Hirkani, tell me, who allowed you to go? I'll slit his throat. Who disobeyed my rule? Tell me, Hirkani, who helped you?" Shit, Shivaji Maharaj, nobody. I climbed down myself. Shivaji Maharaj said, impossible. Nobody can do this. I have made this fort in such a way that not even the greatest warrior on this planet can go out without my permission. And how can you? Show me from where you climbed down. And she took Shivaji Maharaj and his soldiers and they went on the spot. And now it is a daylight. Yesterday it was a pitch dark. She even also did not notice from where she was climbing down. But it's a daylight, everything was visible. And Shivaji Maharaj said, okay, Hirkani, now again you repeat this act. And show me how you climbed down. She looked down and she started shivering. She started shivering. She had the goosebumps. She was fearful. How do I do this? Shivaji Maharaj shouted. He said, Hirkani, if you went from here, do it again, otherwise I'll kill you. With a great pressure, she just kept 1 foot forward and immediately took back. I cannot. And Shivaji Maharaj said, release her. She went from here only. And till date in that fort, that place is known by the name of Hirkani only. So Maharaj Shivaji kept that place names after that lady. Now just imagine, how could she do this impossible act? Conviction towards the purpose. There is no other way. If we all become convinced with the purpose this human form has been made for, this entire creation has been created for, the devotional process Lord Krishna gave, there cannot be any obstacle. We'll go running on this path. Now just imagine what could stop Srila Prabhupada. There were several reasons for Prabhupada to say, I'm too old and my mother tongue is not English. No, I don't have money. I don't have any contact influence in the West. But nothing could stop Prabhupada. He did impossible. So one psychology study says, Our memory in the human form is actually doesn't go beyond 2000 years. So this study says when the 2000 years pass, people start disbelieving the people or the things existed before 2000 years. Like people have to be proved now that Krishna existed 5000 years ago. They say, no, it's an imagination. No, it's a myth. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada, what he did, no, we are able to understand because we are somewhat contemporary, because we at least able to see who saw Prabhupada. And there are so many artifacts used by Prabhupada. But just imagine after 1000, 2000 years, people will start believing it is myth. Nobody can do this actually. But it's a reality, it had happened. And we all are taking benefit of the result of what Prabhupada did. So how could he do in such age? How could he do without any material, tangible support? Conviction towards the process. It will work. There is an anecdote. When Prabhupada was in his Grastha ashram, Abhay Babu, and he was living in Sita Kanta Banerjee Lane in Kolkata. To that day, that time also, Prabhupada was serving Gaudiya Math, his spiritual master's mission. He had offered the first floor of his home to the Gaudiya Math, and the Gaudiya Math speakers used to come and give classes in the evening, and people used to come and hear. So Prabhupada had one very scholarly disciple, god brother, by name of Dol Govind Shastri. He was a very scholarly person in Sanskrit, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj disciple. So Dol Govind Shastri had come that day, and Prabhupada had come from his work. And in evening he was sitting on his staircase, hearing the class, what Dol Govind Shastri was giving on upstairs, and also chanting his rounds, sitting on staircase. So his back was there and his front was downsides. So Dol Govind Shastri was climbing down, and he kept hand on Srila Prabhupada. He said, Abhay, today I was giving lecture on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction that Prithvi At Yat Nagaradi Gram Sarvatra Hobe Morunam, every part of the world, every town and village, my name will be chanted. But I was speaking this, but I was lacking the conviction. This has not happened from last 450 years. Will this ever happen? Will this be done ever? Will anyone be able to do this? Srila Prabhupada stood up after hearing this and he turned back. He looked eye to eye to Dol Govind Shastri. He said, this will be done one day by one fool who has complete faith on Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj instruction. And Dol Govind Shastri later said, he said, when I was hearing it, I was doubting, is he talking about himself? But then my mind said, he's a grasta. How can he do it? And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada used to say, my spiritual master had the army of sannyasis and brahmacharis, and I have army of grastas. So he said, I was wondering how come he is so confident about it? How can this happen? Now just look, Prabhupada is sitting in a park in New York, and one bus conductor, Rupen, comes and sits along with him and says, Swamiji, what is your mission? What has brought you so far here? And Prabhupada says, he has no rupee in his pocket, nothing. And he says, we have 100 temples and thousands of followers. Only time is separating us. The confidence without having anything is inconceivable. Look at the faith he had. Such sincerity. It is not that Srila Prabhupada was considered to be the best scholar among his god brothers. There were many. But they could not do what Prabhupada did. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj specially sponsored his sannyasi disciples to go to the West and establish Krishna consciousness. They went to Germany, they went to London, because those days London was the capital of the world, not the New York. And they used to go there, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj paid for their tickets, made the arrangements for their accommodation, paid for their prasadam, everything he gave. And when they came back to India, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj personally went to receive them on airport. To such an extent he wanted this mission to be established globally. And look at Prabhupada. When he went, who's there to see him, to see off? All alone. When he reaches Boston port, who's there to receive him? One agent had come, sent by Gopal Agarwal, who had sponsored, given a letter, Swamiji, you can come. And Gopal Agarwal later said, I had sent this letter to many Indian Swamis, but nobody turned back. But to the great surprise, Prabhupada came. And we never believed he will be able to come. He said he is also like others. But he arrived, and Prabhupada was so specific. He sent his picture that I look like this, you will be able to recognize me. So such conviction he has that yes, I have to go. And Prabhupada says in one lecture, I thought people were going to the London those days, but I thought let me go to New York. If I have to fail, I'll fail in a different way. Others failed going to the Europe, but I'll fail in a different way. But he was so sincere to his spiritual master. This is why Prabhupada said, I don't want qualified people. I want sincere people. See, when there is a qualification, doesn't mean that you will have sincerity also. But when there is a sincerity, Krishna says, Yoga Shema Vahamiham. I'll give what you lack. I'll provide what you lack. So actually what we need to cultivate is sincerity only. Not any external qualities. When we focus on external qualities in Krishna consciousness, we lack the principle of surrender. Krishnaika Sharanam, which is the one quality of Vaishnava. If one has that, rest 25 will manifest automatically. One need not to work upon the rest 25 if one focuses on Krishnaika Sharanam only. But our problem is we are so external conscious and absorbed that we think unless I have support systems, unless I have this ability, I cannot serve Krishna. We read in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, one Brahmana who had nothing to offer to Krishna, but he is offering everything in mind to Krishna, and Krishna was accepting it. And on the contrary, Duryodhana invited Krishna in Dushasana's palace, which was the most beautiful in entire Hastinapur. Duryodhana invited Krishna and offered him 56 bhoga in the gold utensils, and Krishna said, why should I eat, Duryodhana? Person only eats when he is hungry and when he loves the one who has made. Neither I love you nor I am hungry. Why should I eat? Krishna rejected that external offering but went to Vidurani's palace. And what Vidurani offered Krishna? She was offering the banana peel. But the banana fruit, she was throwing it because she became so much bewildered. Krishna himself has appeared. And when Vidurji came and he holded the hand of Vidurani and he said, "What are you offering, Krishna?" And Krishna said, "I'm enjoying it." So what Krishna saw was the sincerity, not any external act. And this is what we all need to learn. Ye prasade pure sarv asha. If we get that sincerity, iota of sincerity in our life, rest everything will fall in order. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj said, there is no scarcity in this material world. The only scarcity is lack of Krishna consciousness. We may be on path of Krishna consciousness, but we also lack Krishna consciousness. Just being on path of Krishna consciousness doesn't mean that we have become Krishna conscious. We are completely Krishna unconscious. We are conscious about everything, but not about Krishna. We are conscious about every surrounding, but not about Krishna. This is the irony. This is why His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj used to say, before you become Krishna conscious, just be conscious. Now we are trying to become a Krishna conscious, which is a very lofty goal. But we are not even conscious who we are, where we are. We are in Braj Dham. We are not conscious actually, forget. We start treating this holy land also like an ordinary piece of land. It is Chintamani, but where do we realize this? It is Chintamani. No, in that Lok story where Akbar visited Sanatan Goswami and he requested that, can I do something to you? He said, no, I don't need anything. He said, please allow me at least. He said, okay, this staircase of Madan Mohan temple is broken. Get it repaired. And he was wondering, this much only? It's insignificant. When he carefully looked at, he had never seen such jewels. The staircase was made of Chintamani. We hardly recognize this where we are in such beautiful association of devotees. There also our mind is just picking what we are not getting in the faults only. Just look at our mind. Dushtaman, tumi kishera Vaishnav. This is why one poet said, when I first time heard the definition of being Vaishnava, I left the desire to be a Vaishnava. That I can't be like it. Better not try. I can't be like this. So that's why we are so externally absorbed. That time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Mukund Datta was thrown out of the Sankirtan Leela. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said he cannot participate. So he was not going standing on a doorway only. So Srivas Thakur comes and pleads on his behalf. Mahaprabhu is asking that, will there be any day in his life that he can see the Sankirtan pastime of yours from his own eyes? Mahaprabhu said, tell him, after 10 million births, he'll be allowed. Now, if we are told like this, now first of all, our false ego will be completely blown. No, we can't tolerate rejections actually. The one who is, has a false ego cannot tolerate rejection. So our false ego retaliates immediately. No, how can he say no? How is you not allowed here? You are so senior devotee. You are serving. You have contributed so much. Can't they all see this? No, immediately false ego retaliates. But what was the reaction of Mukundatta Prabhu? He started dancing in a great jubilation. Oh, Mahaprabhu has accepted me. Oh, Mahaprabhu has accepted me. I am allowed after 10 million births. And such reaction was told to Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu said, ask him to come now. His 10 million births has passed. Just see with our attitude. Krishna is ready to accept us. Krishna is ready to offer us anything and everything, but he wants to see what will we do when we receive it. Are we qualified to receive it? No, we may aspire to receive it, but are we qualified or not? That is the question. Like Ashwatthama came to Krishna and said, Krishna, I want your Sudarshan Chakra. Krishna said, what will you do? He said, I will kill you. Now, so Krishna sees he will take my opulence and my energy, and what will he do? He would like to destroy me. So this is why Krishna sees the qualification. That are we qualified to receive him? What is our intent? What we want to do? And why we want to do that? This is why this sincerity attracts the heart of the Supreme Lord. It touches him, melts his heart. We may be unqualified. No, we may not have any qualification. Yogita bichare kichu nahi pahi. Tohar karuna sar. If you look at my qualification, Yogita, you kichu nahi pahi. You won't be able to see even one single. But I am just relying on Tohar karuna, on your compassion, O Vaishnav Thakur. Gurudev kripa bindu diya. Just give me this mercy, I become qualified. So this is why sincerity will reflect, despite challenges in our life, despite shortcomings in us, and the proof of our sincerity. One time, Srila Prabhupada ji, he was in one temple. And in that temple, Pujari, there was only one Pujari actually, those days. And Pujari, one full-time Pujari means actually a lot of load. He has to wake up before the Lord wakes up. He has to sleep after the Lord sleeps. And make all the arrangements in between all the offerings, all the worships. He has to take care, everything. So he was completely busy, and some days he used to skip his rounds. So one day his 4 rounds were remaining. He had chanted 12 that day. And it was night. He offered the Shayan Arti, made Lord sleep. And he took out the Mahaprasadam leftover of the entire day. And he thought, now I'll chant the 4 rounds. He was feeling hungry, let me eat this Mahaprasad. Some devotee friends also came that time. So he sat with them and they had the Mahaprasad party. They all honoring Mahaprasadam. And they started chit-chat, discussing this and that. He did not notice how time flew. And the time he noticed, it was too late to sleep. What to talk about chanting remaining 4 rounds. So he thought, I'll complete tomorrow. Let me go now to the bed and sleep, because tomorrow again I have to wake up the Lord. And I have to make all the arrangement for Mangla. So it's too late. So he left 4 rounds that day and went to the sleep, went to the bed. Next day, Srila Prabhupada came at the Darshanarti. Prabhupada had the darshan, took the Charnamrita. So this Pujari offered the Charnamrita to Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, come and see me later. And Pujari thought, why Prabhupada calling me? For what purpose? He thought probably some instructions he wants to give regarding deity worship or some plan he has. He entered inside Srila Prabhupada's chambers later after completing his worship service during the daytime. And Prabhupada said, the moment he paid obeisances and he's just getting up, he's halfway. Prabhupada staring at him eye to eye and said, are you chanting your 16 rounds? And he's shocked. Who told Prabhupada? Who told? How he knows? He's Paramatma or what? Is he sitting in my heart, knowing what I am doing all the time? He's completely bewildered. And he says, Prabhupada, I always chant. Prabhupada said, what about yesterday? Very specific. And now he's shivering. He said, just yesterday only I left. Just yesterday only. And Prabhupada said, see, when we chant 16 rounds, it is holding the hand of Krishna. Like child holds the finger of the father or mother and walks. He is dependent on them. Similarly, when we chant 16 rounds, we are holding the hand of Krishna. And when you hold the hand of your father, a child holds the hand of the father, it is father responsibility to protect the child now. Child is carefree, he's running around here and there. Sometimes he tries to play with the monkeys also, and the father will bring him back. No, he'll bite you. Sometimes he goes and pulls the tail of the dog also. He is doing anything and everything without thinking what will be the consequences. Now, but the father, the guardian, the parent takes care of the child. It is their responsibility. Child is carefree. Similarly, Prabhupada said, we are like child and Krishna is like Supreme Father. And when we complete 16 rounds every day without fail, we holding the hand of Krishna and Krishna now protects us. And when you have not completed even one day your vow to chant 16 rounds, which means now you lack the protection of Krishna. Now who will deal with us? Maya. And Maya is ruthless. She has no compassion. She waits. She waits. Krishna bolia jeev bhog vancha kare, nikataste maya japatiya dare. Nikataste, waiting. When we will lack our sincerity, and she is ready to jump over. She is ready to jump over. So this is actually the test of a devotee. Maintaining sincerity towards the spiritual master at all costs. His Holiness Giriraj Swami narrates one his incidents and he says, when there was a famous case of Radha Ras Bihari temple, Juhuland, famous history. So he was the one who was representing ISKCON in the court and he used to go for the hearing. So Mr. N was so vicious person that he hired a one prostitute. And Giriraj Maharaj is a brahmachari that time. And he's sitting on a bench for his turn to come. And this prostitute comes and sits next to him. And her job was like alluring Maharaj, distracting him like Haridas Thakur. She comes and sits next on a same bench and she's making many gestures to Maharaj. And Maharaj is staunch. He was very simple by nature. Till now he's very innocent and very simple. So he's focusing on his turn, come and speak and present the case. But this prostitute, what she started doing, from her feet, she started touching the feet of Maharaj. To such an extent, she is making the advances. And Maharaj says, that time I had the thought, if I accept the proposal, what will Prabhupada think about me? If Prabhupada knows this, what will he think about me? And he did not pay any attention. He stood up from there, sat on another direction. So this is the sincerity will be actually tested. Like Prabhupada was in one big Pandal program. In India, he did many Pandal programs with his Western disciples and used to call them white elephants. Used to attract the people by showing them. Because Indians used to be surprised. How come these white people becoming what we are living? So they all 40 people, although newspapers used to cover, hundreds of the Westerners came with Swamiji. They were only 14 in number. But all the newspaper covered like this. No, they so they all used to go in every program Prabhupada did, public. And they all sat with Prabhupada in stage. And while lecturing, Prabhupada made this statement. Even if you offer $10 million to my disciples, they will not even break the principles. And everybody in crowd clapping, what statements Swamiji making. And the disciples also started clapping. Prabhupada said, stop, you. Nobody has yet offered you. You will come to know when you are offered this much amount. Whether you compromise or not. So which means our sincerity will be tested. And then we come to know actually how much are we actually sincere towards our spiritual masters. How much are we dedicated towards the disciplic succession. So Krishna will test us according to our level. The entire Bhagavatam is full of tests. How Krishna tested Bali Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, everybody, nobody was spared. Like a litmus test. They all had to go. Prabhupada says, I was tested by Krishna. So we'll be passed from the flying colors only if we remain sincere. So this is what we all have to learn. And for this only, the entire Krishna conscious program has been made by Srila Prabhupada. One time, one devotee in Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj Mutt was teaching other devotees how to lecture. He was training them. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj came and said, no, don't teach them. Teach them how to surrender. If they will surrender, they will learn everything themselves. So this is what we all need to learn. And in case we are able to focus on this, rest everything is following us. We don't need to run after anything. So with this note, I will end this session here. Sorry for taking more time. If we have 2 minutes now, in case you have any questions or any comments, feel free to share.
In last line, you have said that surrender, if one is surrendering, Krishna will provide all what he lacks. So I was just thinking, is sincerity leads to surrender or surrender leads to sincerity? Because it seems like that being sincere.
Surrender is a process. It's not a state or one-time event done. It is ongoing. Nobody can say that I'm completely surrendered. At first stage, we take Prabhupada Ashraya. And later stage, we take Gurupada Ashraya. And when we take Gurupada Ashraya, the Guru gives us Bhajan Kriya. And this Bhajan Kriya means it is never-ending process. So the surrender is always there. So it is not a one-time state that if you attain that now, it's complete. It's a process. So the sincere person will strive to surrender and raise his bar of surrender every moment. Which means the sincere person will look at his faults where he is lacking. He will focus on his weaknesses and try to improve all the time. Like, look at our acharyas, the kind of example they presented. They never said that we have attained perfection. They always said, "Oh Krishna, when will you bestow your causeless mercy on us?" No matter they were Rupa Manjari, Labanga Manjaris, but still they always presented they are a sadhak, ordinary sadhak. Like Srila Prabhupada. He's a Sanapati Bhakta, but he never made realize that his transcendental state. He dealt so ordinarily. So, which means no matter how great you become actually on bhakti path externally, but a sadhak inside always thinks, I lack so much. And this is how the genuine humility develops. It is not an artificial. We bow down, we imitate to show bow down, but it's fake. It's not genuine. That's why I said when we are tested, it comes to know how much virtue and qualities we have developed. In a good time, we all can say, I'm a good bhakta, I'm a very good sadhaka, nothing like me. But when we are tested, then the reality comes out. So sincere person will always look upon his faults. This is my understanding. I have crossed the limit. Is that okay if I take questions or I have to stop? Please let me know. I don't know. Okay. Please, whoever has a mic.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you for this beautiful class. Prabhuji, you said during the lecture that Krishna will test us according to our level for being sincere. So I was just wondering about that level. Is that level connected to our intelligence? Because the intelligence level of every devotee is different. Some are very intelligent, some take things very easily, but some have to strive to understand things. So how it will be proved that we are sincere or not? Thank you.
In Bhakti Siddhant Saraswati Maharaj time, in his mutt, there was one gardener, Mali. And he was illiterate, came from a very typical rural background, never lived in city life, very simple hearted person. And he was disciple of Bhakti Siddhant Maharaj. He used to serve mutt by his gardening every day. So one day Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj said, today Bhagavatam class will be given by him. He was illiterate, never read any Shastra. And he was shivering, Romancha Kampa Shrutaranga Bhajo. When he sat on Vyasan, everything was happening. But the class he gave was the most powerful till date. How come? By serving Krishna selflessly. So in my understanding, Mataji, intelligence cannot attract Krishna. We cannot capture Krishna in box of intelligence. It's only our simplicity of heart and our sincere service which attracts Krishna. So materially, because of our punya, we may have some intelligence, we may have some sharp memories, we may be able to recall anything and everything what we read, like a Shrutidhars. But what Krishna sees is who is surrendering. This is my one paisa realization.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. I am asked to take only one only. So later we can ask. Later personally you can ask. In person you can ask. Allowed?
If you want mercy of Krishna, then the statement should we desire first, then deserve, or should we first deserve, then deserve?
See, when we talk about the deserve, we don't know in which lifetime we will deserve. No? So the only thing which is in our hand is desire to get the mercy of the Lord and the Vaishnavas. We are free to desire. We desired whatever we have attained in our life. So everything in life begins from desire only. And in Bhagavad Gita, we read that Krishna says, living entity is free to desire. This is how he is karta. This is how he is doer, because he desires. Rest everything, there are other doers. Material energy facilitates, Paramatma sanctions. So, living entity is free to desire. So, when we desire Krishna only, then only we will deserve him someday. If you don't desire to get Krishna, how will you deserve to get Krishna? In material life also, whatever we get, first we desire only. That I have to have this. I have to be Krishna conscious. I need to serve Krishna. It will begin from desire only. And this desire, how will we get? Because we actually don't get this desire also. Our desires are very insignificant. We get this desire from those who has this desire by such association. Hare Krishna. So we'll end here only. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to serve all of you and Prashanta Mataji.
Yeah, I wanted to thank you first of all. Yeah, thank you, Vicitra Krishna Prabhu, for the nice meditations, many stories illustrating the power of sincerity, which is very, very nice.
Jai.
I wanted to end with a little light note because you mentioned the white elephants. So, Prabhupada spoke this to his disciples, the American disciples mostly, that you are my you are my white elephants. And he explained that the white elephants, they are in the circus. And then he said that the white elephants, they are so special, that everybody will come to see the white elephants. Because it's such an amazing feat, white elephant, and very rare also. So Prabhupada gave a very positive presentation on the white elephants. They are very rare, they are very beautiful, they are very, impressive, people come and see. And the devotees were very happy to be Prabhupada's white elephant. And then some time later, maybe some years or some months, I don't remember, then another time Prabhupada was so pleased. And he said, yes, white elephants. Is it actually white elephants? They are sick. They are albinos.
Oh.
They are albinos. So, and he said normally a regular elephant can do a lot of work and is very useful. But the white elephant, they are useless. The only thing you can do with them is put them in the circus to attract the people. You can do with them. So that the devotees were developed a little pride of being Prabhupada's wife. Prabhupada was always so two sides of everything.
Thank you very much, Mataji. So nice.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Krishna Prabhu ki
Jai. Shanta Mataji.
Jai.